Alright, listeners, it's Ryan and Megan, and welcome to the Mental Health Mixtape, a podcast dedicated to fostering open conversations, sharing stories, and exploring a diverse range of topics related to mental health. So hold on to your seats as we sit down with some amazing guests to get their perspectives on the ever-changing landscape of mental health. And for all you old folks, no need to hit the record and pause button. Just sit back and let us navigate life's playlist together. During this podcast, you may hear stories about traumatic events and our guests' experiences. There may be discussions about suicide, traumatic events, and the outcomes from these events on personal lives. If you're struggling with anything you hear, please reach out to your peer support team, psychologist, call 911, or head to the nearest hospital. In Canada, you could call Boots on the Ground peer support for first responders at 1-833-677-2668. Talk Suicide Canada at 1-833-456-4566. And in the United States, call 988 for the National Crisis and Suicide Lifeline. It should be noted that the information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional medical, psychological advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Let's go, Dr. M, KJ, Rye Guy.
Oh, here we go.
There
You
are
ready for
names
this?
for
I
everyone.
don't know.
KJ knows what's coming, but you guys
You
don't.
told me to bring a helmet, I think.
You bring a helmet,
Yeah.
get some popcorn.
Yeah.
Did you get the tarp? Did you bring a tarp?
No, there's a body bag though.
Oh, that's,
No PPE for us, I guess. Yeah.
They brought the body bag. So
that's a
I
good
guess.
point.
That's our nickname for the conference bag that we carry. That's a golf
body
bag.
Yeah.
That Shonda's about.
Who's
the
in
size
there?
that can fit in
There's, I don't know what the hell's in there. There's a lot of crap in there. Don't open it up because it looks fun. Hold on a second. So
Yeah,
you've
talk to
actually
me,
never
Goose.
been to this building.
I've never been in this building.
been the
So,
last
but
one.
I did work downtown for 6.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I've driven by this building at all hours. I've walked by this building at all hours. As you guys know, Crack Max, now Crack Circle K, is just 2 blocks north of here.
Yeah.
And even as I was driving up here, and I've, over the last 2 years or however long KJ and I have been doing stuff and working on exposures and stuff, instantly my brain was just instantly look here, look there, look there. And I was just checking to see if I know anybody. And I don't know anybody, but I have a memory literally for every foot all along 8th Street, all the way up to 11th Avenue and then beyond after that. It's
So we should really introduce our listeners to our special guest.
Yes.
And who's actually here, because
Yes.
we haven't even done that. We just launched.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
why don't you introduce yourself to
Oh,
listeners
boy.
and to YouTube land, and then we'll get into
Who are you,
who the
KK?
guest is.
And say your full name, please.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Kristjana Fridfinnson. Very Icelandic
Say that
name.
again.
Kristjana Fridfinnson.
Fridfinnson.
that's not how I
Fridfinnson.
pronounce it when I introduce you.
Or
Go, Kristjana Fridfinnson.
That actually gives me a lot more street cred.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, over to you.
no, that's okay. I also go by KJ. I usually tell people choose your own adventure. If they're struggling with Kristjana, I'm like, KJ, go for it. It's all good. I'm a psychologist here at Wayfound, and I've been here since 2020. I've been registered since last year. My work with first responders has been newer, but I went to school for criminology and forensic psych, and then I ended up working in the disability community, a lot of angsty teenagers, worked frontline group homes for a very long time. I don't know how I made my way here, but I think it was a natural progression.
You were in a training or something that we met?
I met Megan in a prolonged exposure
Training.
training before I actually had fully started here.
Yeah.
And I was like,
memory too.
yeah. And it was love at first sight.
It was love at first
Yeah,
sight.
I was like, I like this. It felt like a really good fit and vibe, and Megan.
Nothing happens for no reason. There are no
Yeah.
coincidences.
Yeah.
God led you down that path.
Yeah.
And Dr. M obviously can recognize a cop whisperer when she sees one. So that's
right.
that's how I know her. She's a cop whisperer,
Yeah.
Earth Angel.
Wow.
Everybody that Oracle actually are the.
Oh my gosh.
Are,
Oof.
is
No
the other-
pressure,
You know
everybody.
what I'm talking about.
I do, and you're so kind. I
Yeah.
just have to take compliments.
I filter. I send everybody I know, and every time I hit the old send. So after my experience with KJ, because I literally would not be here today without KJ. For sure, Cop Whisper, because we are not an easy group to crack.
Really?
And no, and I will. I don't know. But day one, after our first conversation, I still remember KJ saying, We're going to get through this. We're going to make it better. And I was just like, I believe you. So anyway, cop whisper. And as a result, I send everybody I can your way, KJ, until you tell me otherwise. But it seems like every other week I'm like, send.
Hey, it's my boundary to hold up, so
Yeah.
I've told you that, and yeah, absolutely. You
And no shocker. So I still keep track of all the people, at least from my world, that I've sent to KJ, and they all say the same thing: cop whisper.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they're all doing infinitely better.
That's so great.
Yeah.
That's
And what's
really
your
lovely to
name?
hear.
Oh yeah, you should probably tell me. So my name is Brennan Martin. I'm not here as part of the Calgary Police. I'm here on my own time, but I'm a constable with the CPS. I've been in the job 22, 23 years. I've done a bunch of time in patrol. I did a whole bunch of time in the drug unit. That's actually where I got my interest in all these different kinds of drugs. Name the drug, I can make it.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Some might blow us up.
whoa,
Some
wait a minute.
some might blow us up. Others won't. Some might just make you go to sleep. After that, I did some time on a gang team for about a year, but it wasn't a good fit for me there, and so I moved on to the beats downtown, and then that's where I got really entrenched with the vulnerable community. And I got to see addiction from the other side because I was always interested in drugs, the trafficking, getting the drugs from the bad guys, arresting bad guys and bad girls, putting them through the process and taking their guns, their drugs, their cars, their homes in some cases. But now I got to see what it looked like on the other side. So anyway, I did about 6.5 years down there. And then actually that's right around where I met KJ. So right around year 20 or so. I had some stuff start to happen, and I was I don't feel so good. Anyway, and then that took me down the path where I am now, where we're all sitting here today. But it's been a good ride. It's been a good ride. I can say that now because the cop whisperer helped me. But prior to that, I don't know where I would have landed. But anyway, now I'm in recruiting, and I've been in recruiting for a couple of years. I do some fitness stuff with them. We have a podcast.
Some fitness.
Can
You
I
do-
plug that?
Of course you can.
Call
plug
to
that.
Serve.
Yes.
Look under Calgary Police. It's called Call to Serve. I actually facilitate that with my boss, Sergeant Angela Tetley. It's awesome. We talk to cops, and we just tell cop stories, and we want to humanize the police for the public. That's it. Anyway, I've been there for 2 years. I also do a thing called Run with a Recruiter, and we do a whole bunch of events and workshops, and the stuff that I'm super passionate about now. So I've always been very passionate about drugs, obviously, in the production. Now I'm very passionate about addiction, or I was when I was downtown, and the outcome. And now the mental health piece. So those are sort of my three cornerstones that I work off of. I've enjoyed every aspect of it. I didn't expect certain things to happen, but I'll tell you, addiction is a terrible thing. But anyway, that's my general summary. There's a bunch of other stuff, but I won't bother you.
He answered the entire
Great.
question.
Well, thank you guys.
Okay,
That
it
was
was really
awesome.
nice
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
chat with you
Great.
today. Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Our paths
Okay.
have crossed.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yeah.
Because I worked in the Corps for 15 years. I was on Medic 1, Medic 2, Medic 2, and Medic 3.
Oh wow!
Do you remember him?
Yeah, we've crossed paths before.
Wow.
Hopefully it was a good interaction.
Yeah,
Well, this is what you're here for today.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, having done that, been in the Corps for 15 years, I mean, pretty well, yeah, saw both sides of the addiction side.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I want to pick up on that then. I have so many questions for you and you, but so being on the other side of seeing addiction, like, when you started working down here and seeing it from the experience of people struggling with it. So what have you learned about addiction that maybe you don't think people know? Either of you should answer that.
Over you.
Oh, it's all rooted in family and childhood. I mean, almost everybody that I actually took the opportunity, and there was times where I never asked, because you just don't, whether through the lens of injury, but it was always, how did you get to where you are right now? And that's why we asked that question. For me, it's very important. It's like, why do you choose to live on the streets and go through your addiction? And I actually asked that question of a couple of our vulnerable populations downtown, and it was the same story. Why would I go back to a house where I was abused sexually, physically, all of that piece? So I can't help but think that there's a lot of that childhood piece, and I don't know what your experiences are with the other side of that.
It's the full spectrum,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's the full spectrum. There is a ridiculous amount of trauma. And so in some cases they leave because of the trauma. In other cases, they're regular working people, and somewhere along their life they got attached to drugs, And as a result of the drugs, the drugs took over, and they weren't able to pay their bills and all these kinds of things. So they leave shelter that way. But it is an interesting group of people that I've met downtown. I'm particularly, as KJ knows, I'm very passionate about the prostitution side, because downtown there's two sorts of groups of people. So they're all vulnerable.
Yep.
On one side, it's the truly vulnerable, the truly addicted. There are men and women that are suffering. The women will use their bodies to earn money to be able to support the drug habit, where they can't commit property crimes to facilitate their habit. And it's a cyclical thing. So as soon as they get high, as soon as it starts to come down, the work starts to come back in to actually get it. And in working with them, and I knew everybody downtown, male or female. I knew their names, I knew the street names, and something that I thought was a really good idea, turns out it wasn't, as KJ and I worked through it, was the amount of trauma that they have. I thought that if I could hear their individual stories and better understand every single thing that I could about them, then I could be in a better position to help them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then, of course, I didn't anticipate downloading all of their trauma, which really, really sucked. But at the same time, I also didn't anticipate that I wasn't going to be able to help as many as I was hoping for.
The starfish.
Downtown. Yeah.
That he used an
go
analogy.
ahead.
No, you can speak to it more eloquently. I just remember you using that analogy in one about pebbles in your pocket that was quite profound.
Yeah, so I should probably identify the other half of the vulnerable population.
Yeah.
So they prey on their own. So they're extremely, extremely, extremely violent. They didn't like me. So they could spit on the ground, jaywalk, whatever. I would write them tickets for everything. But I developed a reputation downtown as somebody that wasn't going to be the person that's going to enforce the law all the time, that I could be helpful. So they used to come up to me to execute search warrants and sit on the sidewalk. They'd be smoking cigarettes, and I'd be doing all their paperwork, and then that would be it. But the way that I explained it to KJ was that because I was often considered a bit odd, even amongst my own group, because they're like, why are you trying to help out every single person? And so I just gave the starfish example, in that, if you're walking along the beach and there's a bunch of starfish on the beach and you start throwing them all in the water, and of course somebody's going to say, well, why are you why are you doing that? You can't save all of them, and you can't make a difference. And then at the end of the day, you can say, well, I made a difference to that one, right? So,
But that's a hard thing to have to learn, and because you have to, in order to know that, you have to encounter the fact that there's ones you can't save, right? You can't know the one piece without knowing the other.
yeah.
And that's a tough thing to learn, right? Where you have to find lines in the sand for your own responsibility over everyone or others' well-being, right?
I joined the job for one reason. I just wanted to help people. I've been supported for promotion in the past. It's just not my thing. I always knew that I was very interested in the drug side, so I thought I was going to do some UC work on that side, but it didn't end up going that way. I ended up doing the drug production. But I always wanted to help people. That's the only reason why I went down there. And because when I was downtown, I was a fairly senior fella. I can do what I want down there. And fortunately, I had great partners and colleagues that I was working with down there that were into that as well. And it was great till it wasn't. Right, KJ?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's not. I think people think it's going to be this really noticeable change, and a lot of the times, and I'm sure you've seen this hundreds of times too, it's usually one that people have a lot of shame around, because oh, that was a no-brainer. I've done 100 of those. I'm so embarrassed. But it was just, not that it was that one, it was just that it was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of I think what your story was.
And that's exactly what happened. And prior to all this stuff going down, and KJ and I have talked about this, my generation, it was a big no-no to even discuss mental health, to go and get help. We always said if a particular person was going to see somebody, it's like, oh, somebody's checked out, they're going to see Dr. Bonkers. We used to call the doctor Dr. Bonkers, because you went bonkers, right? And it didn't make sense to us at the time why it'd be necessary, because my generation obviously always thought that person was weak, and I was one of those guys. I never ever talked poorly about those people, but I was always I want to go to the next hottest call possible. Suicide call by train, I'm your guy. Severe violent attack, I'm your guy. I wanted to have that
So
that type of call all the time.
do you think you hit a limit with that?
Oh, I definitely hit a limit with that.
It's just I am picking up on that particularly because I actually have had I think I've seen 25 people this week so far, and I think I've had that conversation half the people I've seen this week already around. I was so excited for the calls and the adrenaline and all the things until I got to a point where I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've been really talking about with people is like, yeah, none of us are designed to just continuously absorb all of this trauma and exposure to suffering without it either having an impact or without getting to a point where we're like, I can't do this anymore.
So I would have kept doing it, and I would have kept pushing until I couldn't. And that's where KJ came in and the psychoeducation piece. See, I'm even using the right words, Doc.
Fancy terms.
I know,
Right, Doc?
but
Yeah.
but it was super critical
Told ya.
because my body completely shut down. My
Yeah.
arms and legs went numb. I couldn't eat. And then KJ sort of explained the science behind it. And with that said, over to you, because I can't explain it, but my body shut down.
Yeah. Yep.
Arms went numb, legs went numb. I couldn't eat,
Yeah.
couldn't sleep.
A lot of the times, I think, for a lot of individuals, especially if you haven't had an open place to kind of talk about mental health, the physical part is the last part because you pay attention to it. And it's something concrete, it's something tangible. The amount of people I've talked to, they're like, man, I actually like broke my ankle or I dislocated my shoulder. And that time off for that felt so much easier to tell people, even though I was actually really struggling internally, because it's just so much easier to be like, oh, well, I'm feeling really sick or I have migraines.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time it's manifested from
Well, that's exactly
Just
what
years
happened
of-
because my event, as you know, was small. I've done and been part of many violent calls before that. Loved it, good at it, liked the camaraderie, liked the teamwork concept of it, where we all work towards a common goal. Arrest the people that are responsible for the offense X, whatever it is, and then you get to go to jail. And back in those days, it was the old jail. It was like going to the circus on the weekend because everybody's arrests, they're all
Worked in
down there, and it's
Probably
absolutely
checked
nuts.
in some of your folks you arrested.
is that an accurate description?
Oh, it was a circus, yeah. Every day, all night.
Wow.
If you're working on night
Yeah.
shifts, it was a gong
Oh.
show. Yeah, watching the pit.
I loved it. Like you knew it was going to be a good one when you walked in and the gate was closed because there's a bench where like there's only so much room, and eventually they're like, we can't take any more people in this space, and
everybody's got to
and
get
they
checked
will-
by the medics.
they'll shut it down, and then they have a fishbowl where like, so if there's men in a particular space, they'll put the ladies that have not been checked in yet in this, well, we called it the fishbowl, but a very small little holding room in that same area where the men and women could see each other, and of course the ladies, they're working up and doing their thing and going crazy, and
The good old days.
it was madness in there.
Good
But
old APU.
I loved it when I walked up and I could just hear it, and I'll be like, yeah, this is going to be good. And I would just sit back because now you have the opportunity to just sort of take a break, rest, because it would take a while for them before you
But
would
then
get
Ryan
your
would
turn.
step in so you could take a
Well,
breather
the best
and
was
then
when they would come into the medics room and they put them in the steel chair,
Yeah,
and then they started to get a little bit oppositional, we'll say, and then it was like, okay, we're done.
yeah.
And it was just one after another on some Friday nights. And of course, when I was working at the APU, I was lowest on the seniority list. So all the junior crew chiefs got stuck in the APU for your days and nights. So I would go do 2-3 weeks in APU all night, all day. And it was a different beast.
I loved it. The new jail up in the Northwest doesn't quite have that same sort of appeal. Like, it's there, but it's like, it smells clean. Like you would walk into the old jail and it would smell like alcohol and farts. That's all that it was.
And not Clorox, was the other cleaner, Listerine or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Sprinkled on top.
Oh.
I'm just finding myself saying
And hand sanitizer
and
now,
hand
right?
sanitizer.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Do you think there's people out in the world who aren't interested in this sector of society that we're talking about?
Oh,
are there people
yeah.
at home going I
I don't get this.
I remember earlier on in my career going out for dinner with friends who do not work in the field, and we were talking about our rough days, and there was crickets, and I was like, oh yeah, this person had an axe and they were chasing after me and trying to chop down the office door, but we called the police and it was all good. It just so awkward.
Nobody knows what to say.
And I was like, how was everyone else's day?
Yeah.
And
Well, I sat and did spreadsheets all day.
Yeah.
And there's important parts of every job, but I realize it's not an area that everybody has the same like hyper focus on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that stops me from talking about it with people,
Yeah.
but I'm a little more mindful.
Yeah. Well, and you find your people, I think, to talk about it with.
So
right?
Yeah.
the way that I describe it to like are people that are interested in the recruiting process or people that are going through the process, because they have these big smiles, these bright eyes, these rose-colored glasses like I did. And I want to encourage that energy and help them to be excited about it. But I also want them to understand that it's a very real and serious thing. And so the best way that I can explain it is that everything that you've seen on TV is 100% true. So all of the horror movies, all of the, the crime shows and all the violence and all that stuff. But what it does not have is it doesn't have real people that's in 3D where you're able to absorb their trauma, how they're feeling in the moment, and there's no smell-o-vision, right? So I'll tell you right now, dead guy or dead girl is not a good smell, and it's something that sticks with you forever. And the older that it is, the more pungent. It's absolutely crazy. And there's no Dukes of Hazzard. We don't get to jump the river. Yeah, we don't get to do that stuff, but it's exactly portrayed by TV. That's why when you first get out, you're like the first time I saw violence or death or whatever, I'm like, that had zero impact on me because I'd already seen it on TV and they were fresh. So for me, it worked out well, but not all my colleagues have been that lucky because anything over a day is bad, and if it's been in the apartment for a month and in the tub, real bad. Yeah.
I chuckle because it's the whole system is. I think we're never prepped on the front end.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the fact that you're talking about those things with your recruits.
Yeah.
Because as medics, I mean, we're the ones that go in with you on those
Mhm.
those calls. And
Yeah.
Nobody preps you for those things. Nobody talks about it. Nobody actually talks about the smells, the sights, what's going on.
Mhm.
There's no prep work. It's all clinical.
Yep.
And for you, it's your tactics and it's all those pieces. So the fact that you're actually talking about those things
Yeah.
and socializing, like, hey, just so you know, here's a little bit of what you can expect. And then you're going to find out even more when you peel apart that layer. We need to do a better job, I think, as a paramedic.
Yeah.
And, I think we need to really give our students that are coming out of the schools the opportunity to go, I can prepare mentally for this. There's things
I don't think you can. Like,
I think
what?
you can.
Like, what else can you do beyond something that's experiential?
Having a frank conversation.
Oh, I see.
Instead of just glossing over, oh, by the way, you're going to see a dead body.
Yeah.
Like, here's what it looks like. Like,
Yeah.
this is not meant to dissuade you from your roles or your responsibility or your job or what your passion is. But I think these are the things clinically you're going to see put it in clinical terms from a paramedic standpoint. There are going to be sights and sounds. You pull, unfortunately, a deceased person out of the river in the spring. Well, guess what? They're going to, and then just go through it, walk through it, and normalize what you're going to see. And I think that's just for a paramedic, that has to happen.
That makes sense. On the CPS side, they expose us to that. So we have crime scenes people that come in while you're in classes, and
I wish we did that.
they show photos and they
Yeah,
talk
I didn't
about
realize you didn't.
about the variety of different calls. And then, of course, as soon as you go out on the street and you get your patrol training started, they expose you. Like, the goal is to expose you to every single kind of call. Like, so that first month that I was on the job, I saw a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, because when I started, we were able to go to autopsies. And my EMT class, so on intermediate training level, sent us to the ME's office here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an eye-opener. I think that actually helped prep a little bit
Yeah.
for the job. And
Unique smell there too, isn't there?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but they don't do it anymore. They don't really do any prep work in
I think-
that aspect.
I think it's interesting though you guys are talking about the different senses, because I think that's by the time we'll end up seeing people not having it normalized that this will be something that comes up for you. Anticipate this might make you feel XYZ kind of ways, and that's normal. That's by the time I kind of start talking to people, they're like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, I was mad at this person. I'm so ashamed of that. It's like, well, that's a normal part. And when we go through their stories, it's really encouraged, and it's a huge part of prolonged exposure too, is to not just give the like
Which
what
sucks, by the way.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's a whole other
Back
story.
to you.
No, that's a yeah.
What, PE sucks?
It works.
In Vigo?
It's like Buckley's, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he said. I was like, you should put that as a slogan for PE. I really like
Let's
that.
make a t-shirt.
Yeah.
in vivo exposure, it's like Buckley's.
Oh, I like that.
Tastes horrible.
It's horrible, but it works.
But it works.
Yeah.
But that was like some of the in vivo exposures that I did when I worked in the reintegration side was they were centered directly around one sensory experience, and that was smell.
Yeah.
And the smell of whatever that call was. And I know with one individual, we actually had to really get creative on how we could replicate the smells. And it was trial and error. It was like, no, it's not that, it's this, and it was very specific. So I think those kind of information packets would be really helpful because we know that smell goes straight to the straight to the memory. Where does it go?
Memory
again?
bank.
Yeah, it's not
olfactory
it's going
to-
to
That's the
the
one.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a secondary processing center.
Right. So your smell is going to be associated with
Yeah,
whatever
that's
that
correct.
event is.
That's correct. Yes. Let me put up my
Well,
glasses.
she's the doctor, so yeah. It's true though, because I think it's that interoceptive experience that people have to turn their minds off to a lot. And so when I'm like, oh, tell me about that call, it's like I may as well be their supervisor. And it's super tactical because that's the only way to get through it a lot. So we start to dig in. I was really pissed off. I actually was about to cry. I was going to throw up. This smell didn't leave me. So the actual personal experiences with things and it's the context, the stories. You could see nothing objectively graphic or gross, but it's the stories that people come in with. Like, why did that one send me off the street? I'm like, you went to a SIDS call with a welcome home sign. That context.
And you get those snapshots, right?
You don't even have to see anything.
And then you go home and change a diaper and smell the baby powder and right back to the call.
The thing I don't get though is how you could do stuff for so long and then all of a sudden one smaller incident is the item. Like when we've talked KJ, I always like to say that each call that you go to is like a pebble in your pocket and you don't feel the weight, but then eventually all those, like that's going to equate to a lot of weight over 15, 20, 25 years. Then all of a sudden the small thing just sends you.
Well, and I think what I think about, so I'm going to say this and then I kind of have a question I want to ask all of you about your perspective on. I think about this sometimes with people in their careers that like when you started your job, you were given like this huge, rope, but like really thick, cable type of rope that could withstand, hold all sorts of weight and whatever. And then you started your career and it's like it started getting moved back and forth along like the top of the fence or something like that. And so there's like these slow breaks and these micro breaks in the fibers and whatever. And, sometimes the rubbing is like stronger or faster or more intense or whatever, like that might be a big call. Other times it's like less so, but it keeps happening. And unless there are ways to repair those micro tears, eventually you're down to your last fiber and then
it goes,
right?
And then before that, if the person is starting to experience that or feel it, subconsciously, then they disassociate from the places to protect themselves, which is what I did, because then I would avoid certain areas, which I used to go to and spend all day, every day at. And then before I went off, I was avoiding, it was pure avoidance for all of it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I think with these things, from our perspective, KJ's and mine, I think about this, like we're talking about stress-related injuries. And so, stress therefore becomes the toxin. And we increasingly lose tolerance for any amount of stress in our circumstance, right? So, I try to help people to just, again, we can't always 100% know exactly why in that moment this thing happened, but it's happening because your nervous system has just basically said, I can't do this
Not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
But part of you, so I like the stress. I like having extra things. I like having too much and trying to juggle that stuff and being able to help people in the process. But then my trigger, it's such a millennial word. I don't even like using that word. It drives me nuts.
I feel like outside the therapeutic world, there's so many like boundary and trigger words that I'm like, it did have some really good meaning. And now I cringe when I say it. Yeah, I like activate.
I know.
Mine is if I can't help a person. That sucks. So there's been times where I'll be talking to somebody one week outside the Schumer, somebody that I deal with. So that this person is part of the population that is just addicted, and a male in this particular case. Talk to him one week, I come back the next week, we get a check on welfare call. My boss or my partner and I, we go there at the time. We go in the park and he's dead. There's a bunch of drug indicia all around him, like all the saline and the needles and all that kind of stuff. And he's clearly been dead for a long time. And my colleague at that time, he was a medic for quite a long time, actually. He was a medic as well. He's like the Yoda of the police world. But anyway, and then there he is now dead. It's like, oh man, that sucks. But then when the ME comes, it's like, who is that? I know who that person is, and then they can put a name to that person. It just sucks. I've honestly always felt that it's not an option to do nothing ever. In that moment, if you can do something that can impact that person, I have to seize that moment, because I don't want to go home and find out that I could have helped somebody like I did, like with the big thing that was my little Chernobyl incident. And realize, oh man, I could have helped that person, and I didn't do that. So it is not an option to do nothing, period. That's why I'm here until I'm done, but I can't do that stuff anymore. So now I take that same mindset and I use it on the recruiting side.
Wow. So, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want
I'll answer them all. Let's go, Dr. M.
Okay.
He's a blank slate, which is why I'm here. This is why it's unique.
I actually need you to jump in more, KJ, and be like, well, Brennan, you told me this and you told me that. So,
okay.
No pressure.
I will throw it over.
Like,
drill sergeant right now.
Whatever we discussed, she can talk about at any given time, because I want to use it to help other people.
No, I know, and I think it's probably important to say that, like, KJ is your therapist, has been for some time. This is a very unusual thing.
I know. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
But I'm humbled. The fact
Gotta
that
share.
Yeah.
Gotta share the whisper and Wayfound,
But I
by
think
the
that's
way.
a humbling moment, at least for me. I mean, you're sitting here willing to share openly to help others. And I think that has to be, at least acknowledged from, somebody that's been in the field. I mean, having worked downtown, there's not a lot of this collaborative kind of piece to share and actually help people get through to the next steps where they need to get.
Yeah, it's because they don't want to. And
Well, of course,
I didn't want to.
Nobody
Until
does.
your body says you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
That goes back to the book, my favorite book, one of my favorite books, and I can't remember the author's name, Megan will know, but it's Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Love that book.
Sapolsky.
Why which? Sorry?
Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers.
Dr. Robert Sapolsky.
Just an amazing, mind-blowing book that animals get it.
I like the title. Sounds good. Yeah.
Chased
Yeah,
by
it's
a
really good.
Yeah.
A zebra gets chased in the Serengeti by a lion, gets away. What do? They shake it off. Their whole body, they just shake off the energy, the emotional discharge of that.
Wow.
What we rationalize it and hold it in. And then that goes back into Bessel van der Kolk's book, Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah.
It's going to build up. It has to build up. It's going to, whether it's autoimmune disorders. I mean, the list is exhaustive. At some point in time, your body will say, I'm done.
So I didn't know that it would do that. I just thought that you could repress it forever, and then, but like, it literally was like, no. Like right now, like I can remember the day when it happened and where I was sitting, kind of like a 911 incident, right? I remember the day when it happened, and I was like, what is that?
You can say
Well, I can't because my bosses might actually listen to this, so I have to be good.
we'll say
What's that, sorry?
We'll say it for you.
Yeah, I know, it's all good. Like, my goal here today, I should probably say this. KJ knows this. I only want it to reduce the stigma of getting help. Period. And if it helps one person while 99 others, wave their finger at me, then I don't care. I'm actually not afraid of anybody. I've done everything that there is to do on the job. I want to do a few things, reduce the stigma to get more people. I have been like sending as many people I can in the direction of KJ, because you are 100% a cop whisperer. You get us. I don't know how you do, but it's awesome. But Wayfound as well. So like I know other people in CPS land that actually come here that are not under KJ's portfolio, but see other people here, and everybody says the same thing. So you guys are doing something different, and it's important that we normalize that so that we can send as many people, whether it's here or anywhere else, to get that help, because that's going to impact their lives, and it has the ripple effect on their families and their friends, and then they in turn are like, holy crap, this actually works. I'm going to encourage or push or pursue my friends to do it, and it just creates a real positive sort of wave. It's up to us what kind of waves and ripples that we put out there. So why not put out positive ones, because they're both achievable. And so I just choose to go this way. And for sure, I would not be sitting here. I would have been swinging from a poplar tree 1,000% if it wasn't for KJ. Yeah, and God and my wife. I should probably throw my sweet pea in there too, right? But like for sure, because like I I still remember that first session that we had. She goes, okay, first session, we have to cover off the rules, right? And
Boring, but essential.
Well, totally essential. And then she mentioned, the one of, have you ever thought about hurting yourself, or would you? And I'm like, well, every day, because I did not anticipate for me, and I need you to maybe speak more to this, KJ, or whoever, the physical pain. So the headaches, the nausea, like I couldn't eat. I would have much rather have had a broken leg, because then I can take a pill. That pill will take away that pain, and then I can go to sleep. But it didn't. I felt absolutely horrible. I did not understand why I was feeling so sick. So anyway, going back to the rules, I was like, well, darn rights, I've been thinking about that, because I did not, I could not handle the pain. I never would have done it, and if I did, I obviously would have said something. No. But like I have friends
That's
and family.
not an uncommon thing, though. Most people are like, I've taken people to the hospital for this, so there's no way in hell I'm going to tell you. I'm like, I know, that's fair.
But the I forget where I was going with that. I just didn't anticipate the pain being as much as it was. So that's why I'm particularly passionate about it, because I've gotten through it. As KJ knows, there's still time where it's like, there's some days where like there's nothing to talk about, and then there's other days where it's like, let's actually open up the book. I actually have 2 full books of KJ stuff that she said that's relevant.
Oh, I'm sure some of them are
They're awesome.
random.
No, but they're all awesome. How many times do I say to you, KJ, I was like, that is perfect, and I'll be like, pause, and I'll just write that stuff down. I have 2 books full.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really
In
lovely.
the beginning, it was all chicken scratch, because I could barely, use a pen. But then as time goes on, I'm writing stuff down, and then I go back and I use the techniques that she taught me. But the psychoeducation piece was important for me, because then I could understand the pharmacology of the body, and you'd use all your fancy science yeah, exactly.
I was about to say,
You had glasses too. Yeah, that's right.
I still do. I'm just wearing contacts today. I think one of the first things I'll tell people too, like the psychoeducation piece, especially I feel like for folks, and you can probably speak to this too, where mental health has been struggles have been so internalized as awful, and there's something wrong with me and it's weak. So I really find so much benefit in talking about the science and the body first, to be like, there are objective reasons first and foremost too that this is happening, and that already is just so much easier to kind of take in. And one of the first things I'll say to people is, our brains are meant to compartmentalize in a healthy way, but to shelf it when it's unintentional and you're repressing for a long time. It feels good in the interim, but if you don't choose when to bring it out, like in a therapy session, a little bit at a time, it's going to ooze out of every orifice, and you will not have control over it.
It's going to show up in some other way.
And it's going to be
that's what happens.
And it's usually, that's when people are like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And it's like how I like to view therapy and people's stories and looking at it is, we are just coming in, it's like shaking up a pop bottle and you're just opening it like a little bit at a time.
That's true.
Because I think people think that they're going to come in and be like, all right, we're just throwing this 2-liter of Coke all over the office. But
get some Mentos.
Get some Mentos. But it really is just you being in control of when you talk about it and giving it some light that otherwise it would just explode.
shining a light in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear the story?
Sure.
Tell you. I'll give you the Coles Notes version. Sesame Street version, in case my bosses actually get to see this podcast, because if I use the words that I used at the first with KJ, it wouldn't go well. And ultimately, I want to help people, and I don't want my language to be the reason why the message gets lost. So anyway, the long story short, downtown, my philosophy is the same as I've already told you. Help everybody. Get to know all their stories. Did not anticipate that I wasn't going to be able to help them, and they were all going to end up dead. And like all of the ones that I've dealt with, as I've talked to all my buddies that work downtown since then, all of the OGs, the men and the women, all dead. They've all died. They've all overdosed. But anyway, I didn't anticipate that I wasn't going to be able to help them, because I always had this thing. Here's the cup. Whatever you want, I can make it happen. I didn't anticipate that, and I didn't anticipate downloading all their trauma. I had my favorites downtown. The ladies were by far my favorite, just because of the stuff that I already outlined. They're doing stuff in February, in back alleys, with really, really, really gross, mean, horrific people. These aren't loving partners, obviously. And so the stuff that they have to do to survive, essentially. And they have to align themselves with men, street husbands, and big shocker, they're not like real husbands. They're not loving partners, right? So there's a ton of trauma and abuse. But my goal was to help get them off the streets, and I was able to work with a number of them. One in particular was my special. Her name's Amanda. She was amazing. KJ knows about Amanda. And I got to know her. She was actually my first. She's in heaven now. And unfortunately, she passed away when I was off getting treatment from KJ on Christmas Eve. It broke my heart because I actually had a really good relationship with her mother, and I used to text her all the
It was
time.
significant. That's yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, KJ, I don't think I can handle texting her mom. She goes, well, what do you think? I said, no, I don't want to do it. And then she said, well, then that's your decision. And then one day I was like, I just texted her mom real fast, right out of the blue. And I told you about that. And she never got back to me. Then I texted her again, and then she never got back to me. And so eventually I spoke with her probation officer while I was off sick, and because it was still on my mind. And I found out that she had passed away. So that sucked. So there's lots of that stuff going on. But like in my mind, if I tried to help every person, the law of averages says you should be able to help one. So I'm sure there were days that they got some food. I would buy meals for anybody that was hungry. That's the worst thing in the world. After a long day and you're thirsty and you're hungry, to not be able to eat or drink is terrible. So anyway, fast forward, reverse time. I'm on the LRT platform, and I'm in my favorite spot. It's February. I'm working with my good buddy that KJ knows. I won't use her name. Anyway, really great copper. She's amazing. I've known her for about 20 years. Anyway, we're on the platform, and so on the platform, when it's that cold, there's sort of a hierarchy. So there's going to be a bunch of people sitting on the vents, because that's where some of the heat comes up, and it's like 5:30. So there's no reason for me to try and enforce anything. They're freezing. It's like minus 20 something outside. But I have a rule. I talk to everybody. It does not matter. I don't need to know you. You don't need to have done something for me to talk to you. You can tell me to beat it and go F myself and all these things, and I'll be like, okay, I will later, but for now, I'm going to have a conversation with you. I just want to talk to you. So that's how I got that reputation down there. Anyway, so we're walking up on the platform one day, and I look over and I see this young lady smoking. I'm like, gotcha. So my thing is, I don't write tickets. Now, will I use the law to be able to identify who you are? Yes, I will, because I want to know who you are. I want to know your story, to be able to figure out how I can help you. So that was my philosophy at the time. I did that with absolutely everybody, and everybody knew you had to give me my 10 minutes. They would just say, listen, stop yelling and swearing at them. You got to give them his 10 minutes. And
Not gonna leave you alone.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. Because you literally have to get up and walk away, which they're not going to do, because that's what the nice warm heating vents is, right? So anyway, she was smoking. I went up and I was talking to her, and she breathed out smoke. I'm like, I gotcha. We're having jokes, and I instantly so she's wearing some clothing all the way up to her nose, but the eyes tell the story. Like, I've seen KJ's eyes so many times. Yours, they're like fingerprints. I can remember that stuff. Anyway, she gave me a fake name, and I'm like, whatever. I've been given fake names so many times. I don't worry about it, because I know that I'm going to see them later, and eventually I'm going to get their real name. And it's freezing. I don't want to shake her down to get her information when she's just trying to be warm. And she's sitting right beside a known OG girl, female. She was actually the first vulnerable girl that I met downtown. Her name was Cara Lee. Unfortunately, she's passed away now as well. If there was somebody that was not gonna die, if I would have put a paycheck on, it was her. She so strong, so positive. She's a very strong woman to survive in that environment down there, and she didn't need no old man. She was herself, and she wasn't a big lady at all, or a big girl, I suppose, at the time. Anyway, she was the girl that I was talking to that was smoking with her was sitting beside Cara Lee, and I'm like, Cara Lee, you got her? She's like, yep. She lied to me, said that she was waiting for her brother. like I knew that was a lie as well. Like we get lied to all the time. But again, what's my objective? Is my objective to get my 20 tickets to a person that can't pay the fine? Or is my objective to help people? So I'm like, all right, see you later. I was cold too. I went back in and I got in the van with our friend. And that was it. Anyway, on days off, I'm sitting down and I'm reading the newspaper, and then all of a sudden I see this photo, and it says female missing 11 days, youth downtown, and so now you can see the whole face, and I'm like, that's the one, and so now in my mind I just killed her, because if I'd have known that she was missing, then I could have dealt with it, and had I jacked her up and gotten her ID and really not created that good relationship that I'm looking to get downtown, then I could have helped her. She still wasn't arrestable. Like, she was still of an age where, like, I could not have made her go home. I didn't find that out till afterwards, just because I don't deal with many youth. Anyway, so as I said, I went home and I saw that I instantly got sick. Like, that was the moment that all my arms and legs went numb. I started gagging. I couldn't eat. And it was the day 1 of 5 days off. I love my 5 days off. It was perfect. It's during hockey season. I want to do hockey and do all that stuff. Anyway, I didn't sleep. I'm gagging. My kids are like, Dad, you got the COVID? I'm like, I think I got the COVID, boys. And I went to work. So, of course, we wear body cams. And I wasn't sleeping. I was waking up at 2 in the morning, and I would cook some eggs, and I would just eat it as fast as I could. And then 5 minutes later, it's like right out, right? It's gone. I know, it sucked. But
Poor body. Your poor you.
yeah, well, it got worse when we started doing that prolonged exposure, Buckley stuff.
Yeah, we talked about it in advance. I'm like, it's not going to feel good, and you're going to notice stuff come up, and I promise it's still working.
But because I trusted you from the beginning, it worked. Long story short.
Exactly. Don't you find
Okay.
out? Like, when someone comes in, they're like, oh, I'm starting to feel better. I'm like, thank fucking God.
I know, it feels good, doesn't it?
Well, and like I feel like all of us, like knowing and understanding exposure work too, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I make sure to do it in my everyday life with certain things, so I know what it feels like, and I'd rather know what something feels like before I'm like, yeah, you should do it. So I was like, trust me, it's gonna feel really shitty for a while.
But the thing is, I couldn't even get to that
until
we did like our first 3 or 4 months, because I went into work, I pulled my body cam off, I compared it with the known photo, because there's an actual investigator who's responsible for that person. A week later, and so obviously I can't sleep, I can't eat, I talked to my boss, I talked to my whole team downtown, so we got to find this girl. Couldn't find her. I found out the following set of days off that she was found, and so the problem is that the hypervigilance didn't come down. I still stayed sick, and so in the end I was like, I got to pull the ripcord, and so I did. The boss was great, and oddly enough, you probably know who it is. So I called to our psych services, which I got to plug CPS's psych services department. They're amazing. So I call them. They do a triage, and they give me a name of another lady clinician here. I wrote it all down on this chicken scratch, and they told me to call here and book an appointment. But I saw it, and my brain was like full on fog, and I just dialed the number. I said I'm supposed to call, and then I got hooked up with KJ again. Divine.
Yeah, totally.
Again,
yeah,
divine.
I forgot about that it was a different person. I don't even know who it was.
But Wayfound's reputation at CPS and the psych services department there is huge, just so you know. Pump your tires a bit.
Oh, goodness.
Hashtag come to Wayfound, get better.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so
Hashtag this shit works.
Yeah. Totally. Do you have an understanding? Because, like, I could imagine there could be people listening who are like, yeah, I relate to, like, my body doesn't feel good in the pain and whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, do you have an understanding of what was happening?
I do now.
Okay.
So I see it in phases. So it's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous, right?
Yeah.
You got to accept the fact that you have a problem with alcohol. So I had to be like, okay, I don't feel good. Like I legit cannot eat anything. I'm not eating more than maybe 200 or 300 calories a day.
Jeez.
I'm a string bean as it is with lady ankles, or actually toddler lady ankles. Like, I got the calves
I
of
know.
a
This-
7-year-old girl.
I see them.
I can't. They're
I
bad.
saw you like.
They're bad.
Well,
They're bad.
and seeing him virtually, like you've always been this descriptive, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it's
I'm kind
true.
of curious.
Oh,
I don't
they're-
want to make this
they're
man
terrible.
of this
Did you
meeting.
do one of
And then you
those?
like
My-
have a vision in mind.
My 13-year-old
hard not
son
to chuckle.
teases me on a daily basis. He's like, Dad, I got bigger calves than you. And he flexes and does all these things because he likes the
Well,
fitness
that's,
life
that's
as well.
rough.
But so the first phase is accepting that you have a problem and actually having the courage to do it. So that's the hardest
Yeah.
part. That is by far the hardest part of this whole like the whole process sucks except when you get spit out at the other end. You know, it so your machine here is what allowed me to come out good, but the first part is saying, okay, I need to get help. So go get help. And for the people that are out there, talk to your like in emergency services, we all got people. I'm Brennan Martin, the Calgary Police Service, POL 3807 at Calgary Police.
I'm Megan McElheran.
Email me.
Wayfound.ca. You can email me.
Yeah, but like for
trip over my
the
name
emergency
with it.
service people out there that are a bit nervous, like I can talk you through it.
Totally.
I've done it. But anyway, get the help. Make that first phone call is the hardest.
Yeah.
The men and women that I've spoken with, it was impossible. Like the girl one that sees you, the first one that I sent your way, she was stubborn. Oh my goodness! But eventually,
Again, unusual for police officers.
I know.
I
well,
was shook.
Right.
Yeah.
But like all emergency services, because we're all like, you can be a peace officer, you can be a medic, you can be police, you can be CFD, or sorry, the fire department. You could, like, in any capacity, and then you can be in the civilian world that's just suffering from whatever. This is the medicine.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but anyway,
Yeah.
except that you need help. So for me, from my side, then we did a lot of I don't know if talk therapy is the right word, but we just discussed all the stuff that was the problem.
Yeah.
KJ gave me all the psychoeducation piece.
Yeah.
Then we started talking about prolonged exposure. We talked about something else where we
Do some mindfulness and
Yes.
grounding pieces. So
Yeah.
when you're not when we're not in therapy together, or you're not doing PE, like what do you do to act? I mean, Ryan is our guru. You hadn't started yet, so
No, not yet.
yeah. He would have been somebody probably I would have been like, you should also connect with Ryan to keep doing this part outside of it.
because after so the first step is making the phone call. The second step is starting therapy, which is critical. It's so hard, but it works. It tastes like horrible, but it works. And then the thing that I really liked about what KJ did with me is there was an actual plan, so there was stuff to do. So you gave me homework, and it started out really small. The threshold was small, but at the time my suds was like was through the roof. So she explained all that concept to me, and then we slowly increased that stuff that I was doing on my own. But the great thing about the CPS and the amazing psych services department they have there, and they have a reintegration team. So then we discussed a plan of slowly doing more exposures of the stuff. And so for me, it's all downtown. It's all downtown. It's every corner. It's every hurting person, dead people, like all that stuff. So it was really challenging. But we evolved from just because I couldn't even read the newspaper. I couldn't watch the news for anything bad that was happening. I couldn't read a book to my son that because he loves all World War II stuff, any trauma related stuff. I couldn't do any of that. So KJ started me off really slow, and so as I got a little bit better, we're like, okay, now that you're feeling better, let's do this. And I'm like, he's like, oh crap, and it's hard for me not to use the words, KJ.
I know,
I don't want to get fired. I know. Well, I don't want to get fired. I'm just teasing. I got great bosses. I just want to represent myself well so that other people out there get help. But anyway, then we slowly increased. And then, this was the first day that I ever met KJ. So she came up to CPS land. We have a reintegration team. Sergeant Mike Huskins, great dude. We started something with him. And then it was like 6 months of this stuff. And poor Mike, there were days when we first started and something would happen, and I would look at him. I would use the normal language that I use. I mean, get me back to the office. I'm done. And he was like, oh, he was so great and so patient. And I've since apologized to him about that because he was a big part. Like he was the working hand of KJ to be able to provide what it was that I needed, and it was terrible. It was terrible. Like it was the worst experience. I hated every second of it, but every day that I came back, or after a week, it got a little bit better.
Yeah.
Then it got a little bit better. And I can still remember when it got better to the point where it's like, holy crap, I slept the entire night last night and I didn't wake up to because like I used to wake up every night. My bed was soaked. Like I had to sleep on towels and wake up through the night. I didn't understand that stuff, bad nightmares and all that thing. Anyway, then you would get through that. So that's stage 2. Stage 2 is the actual action plan, which sucks, but it's very beneficial. It's Buckley's, but it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting their appendix out by just,
No.
going to the spa.
Then there's the
Cutting
return to work
this-
plan.
Bad, yeah.
And then you start all over again with that same anxiety. So you have the great anxiety that, and the terrible body feelings and the physiology and all that stuff to make the call. Then you do that for a bit. Then you start the prolonged stuff. Then you're starting from scratch again, but with a stronger foundation.
Yeah.
And then after that's the return to work plan. That I did not like.
Yeah.
I did not like. I could. Excuse me. I couldn't even go in the building, and so we did exposures around that
Yep.
kind of stuff, and
Yep.
parking lots, and going through
That's
the
a-
door.
Got the gold, you got like the gold
that's a
standard
big one.
here, man.
And
I mean, I had a good, like, it was honestly verbatim. The training was truly so good. And I think that's something I heard from the reintegration
Yeah.
team and all the people I've met since, are that was so life-changing and transcendent to hear. Not even just that they felt like they were trained, but I think it really solidified for them, like, why they wanted to keep helping people and that, and just normalizing it. Yeah.
that training that you gave, because it's like hair club, right? So,
It's a hair club.
yeah, no,
Hair club for men.
yeah, hair. So now I went from being a customer to like now
Now you're selling it.
Now I'm selling it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, because when I sat in there, that was before we met.
Yep.
Of course, I made a point of getting to meet you when
Yeah.
when you were in there, just to say thank you and all that stuff. But your style of teaching, combined with the mentorship that you guys gave to the reintegration team, so that they could do their thing, was absolutely critical. And everybody talks about it. Everybody talks about it. It's a very valuable thing. And the people that I know that have not only taken the course, but have used the course and the stuff that that you guys have given us, they, excuse me, just a little dry. They get absolutely fired up about it, and they're smiling. And to the point where, like the last one, because I usually come in and tell my story. And in the very beginning, when I told my story, it was very graphic. So I couldn't do it last time because I was in Hawaii, and that one came first. Anyway, and so I've since had people come up to me and be like, "That course was awesome. Your explanation of the course and what you went through," and they're always like, "Who's this cop whisperer?" It's awesome because I still use that.
CW.
I plug KJ and Wayfound wherever I go,
Yeah.
and if I even get an inch of leeway to talk to people about the benefit and where they should go, because like it's like a car salesman, right? Well, no, it's not. Sorry, but I'm going to send people to a place where I know
Yeah, of
that
course.
that they're going to get the service that they need, right?
Yeah.
So,
Completely.
but it works,
No, I mean,
and they're very thankful.
and I'm, I think our hope collectively,
Yeah.
all of us here, is that we can be getting to people earlier and helping them to understand it's an early and often. Like, these are not typical jobs. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with people that at the end of the day, sometimes you can't help. I have a question for you in a second, but
Ladder
like, my hope is that there's going to be fewer and fewer people who have to get into that state that you are in before they know that they need to take care of themselves in this way, right? Because there is a dose response relationship. Like, if we're getting there a little bit early, it may not hurt as much, right?
Yeah. So that's what I say to them all. Like, there's one young lady, is not even a cop yet. So
Yeah.
I met her at a wicked event called Camp Courage. It's a week-long week where young women get to experience all the emergency services. So one parent, so I'm there, with my stuff, and so I'm there to talk to the young ladies that want to be cops. And the mom comes up and says, "I have a question about trauma." And I'm like, So we had that conversation.
Exactly
and
like that.
So
I can envision it.
that's exactly how it went.
No, it's true though. We've talked about this
Yeah.
even after when you return to work. It's like it's going to be like a sixth sense for a bit,
Yeah.
where you would have been like, that guy's an asshole, that person's this. You're like, there's trauma there.
Yeah.
Were you and I talking about that yesterday?
Yeah.
Smelling the trauma.
Yeah.
I was like, where is that coming
Yeah,
from?
yeah,
we were talking
yeah,
about
for
it
sure.
yesterday.
And I think that's like, even when you introduce me or send me
Yeah.
emails, that's actually something he includes,
Yeah.
not the smelling the trauma, but I want to help this person
Yeah.
talk to somebody before it's been
Yeah.
20 years. You've sent
Yeah.
people to after one event and you're
Yeah.
like, trust me, just go, just meet her. And
Yeah.
I'm like, if it's a one and done, just to be like, hey, therapy doesn't have to be awful. I mean, you might not like me, that's
Yeah.
fine, but just to show it's not what...
Unlikely.
How could that happen?
Oh, you guys.
Stop, go on.
Oh, but
Yeah,
please.
exactly.
But it's just to show that it's different than what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Dr. Bonkers or a shrink, and
Yeah.
they're like, do I have to lie down
Are
on
you
the
And
couch?
sure?
the
Yeah.
blank slate, you're not going to get a human being that you're talking
I use your
Yeah.
analogy all the time because you often talk about injuries and health and oral care, for example. You do that stuff all the time, but when you don't take care of your mental health, it's going to decay.
Yep.
And if you wait till it's year 20, you don't want to be swinging from a
You're gonna
poplar
have
tree.
gingivitis.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and for a lot of people too who are just really active as well, and coming from a sports background too, I'm like, okay, for physio, right? You have an acute injury, so you're going
Yeah.
all the time. You're gonna be good for a bit, and then you're like, oh, at this
I don't have to
volleyball
do the
game,
things that
I
Yeah.
hit the ball weird and I re-injured it. It's an overuse injury, so you might have to go in every once in a while. So to know that you have a good physio there that's just like, hey, yeah, come
Yeah.
back in when things flare up. And I think that's just, it makes it so much more palatable.
Completely.
Well, we're still
Why,
in a...
why wouldn't you take care of your mental health? Because you take care of everything else. Like for me, it's the same thing. Like fitness is very important. Clean living is very important. I am back on the pint though, KJ. Maybe we need to talk about that. I love beer. I love beer, but not too much. But back when I was going through my thing, I was using it as a crutch.
Yeah,
So
for sure. That's what many people do.
I actually recognized that, and I told KJ that. I'm like, this has to go.
Yeah.
And I said, it's gone. She goes, okay. And that's it. And then it was over a year. And then I went to an all-inclusive in Mexico, and I'm like, hello, my little friend.
It's been a year.
Hey.
Come see me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and like, there's nothing wrong with alcohol inherently, but I think,
Yeah.
you know, it's like that always being mindful of asking yourself the question, like, why am I drinking? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
drinking because I'm in Mexico and I'm enjoying the flavor
Yeah.
of it or whatever. But if I'm drinking because I'm trying to settle my nervous system down or because I don't want to think,
Hundo.
remember, right?
That was me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even get in the house from the garage, and I would have finished the first one.
I always
So-
think a good check-in too is, do I want this or do I need this? Or if you're coming in and you're opening the fridge and grabbing a beer and sitting down and you don't even remember doing that, that's not a bad thing, but that's usually like, oh, okay.
There's a reason for this.
Yeah, like, oh,
It's
do
a
I want...
signpost where you should
Yeah.
pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I want to go to a brewery and try this beer.
It tastes great.
But do I
Yeah, it's fun.
absolutely need to feel good for the rest of the day? And again, there's no shame in that. It's just each person knowing personally where
I
you're
was
at.
this far from hitting the hand sandy in the bathroom before I went off.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It
Well,
wasn't that bad,
no,
but it
I
was
mean,
bad.
But you know, like I know tons of people who have whatever bottle of whatever in their
Yeah.
desks, or
Yeah.
you know what's in the office. Or, well, there's a reason for that, right? And
Mhm.
Yeah.
if you don't have if you don't have anything else to do to take care of yourself or to calm yourself down, if you don't know anything else to do, of course you're going to do that, right? Because it's going to
Yeah.
work in the short term, right?
So circling back, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through and potentially not be lucky enough to have a KJ or a Wayfound. See how I keep plugging that?
Ooh.
I know. I love it. I love it.
He's good.
So I want people to understand what's available to them at the onset, so that that they don't get to experience what I experienced, and then they can take care of themselves all the way through.
Yeah.
Because it just sucks. Like, it was horrible. Like, I can't say that enough. It was horrible. Even when I think about it, I still can't believe that I came out the other end. I'm very, very thankful that I did. But so now that I did, I want to do the hard thing. So I want to make sure that everybody that I possibly can gets at least some information. I regurgitate some stuff that KJ's told me, and why that it would be necessary, and then I harass them if they're at work, to the point where I'm like, have you called her yet? Yeah, okay, I've called her.
I'm not asking him to do this, by the way. Anybody
We're
who has
ethically
contact.
prohibited from doing this.
Yeah, I'm not actually
So-
able to be like, hey, you need to go hand out my business cards. But that's just,
But it's a starfish thing for
Yeah.
me. That's
Totally, yeah.
So I've simply transitioned from being downtown to at work, and or all people in general. And so that's why with that young lady who's not even a cop yet, she's like 17 or 18 years old, she wants to be a police officer. And the conversation I had with her, she's driven, she's smart, she's fit, she's hardworking. She's one of those people that will be successful. And when you bring that type of commitment and intensity and perseverance into whatever it is that you're into, especially when it's in our world, it's going to have a possible outcome out the other end. So why not deal with it at the front end? And then you will see the benefit, and then you will help other people, and then those people help other people. It'll take a generation. That's what I think. And so that is my mission right now. So this is like my TSN turning point. I've talked to KJ. I did not ever imagine myself doing anything like this when I first did my return to work. I was asked by peer support guy John Gerloni. You guys already had him here.
We sure
Yeah, we
do.
did.
Yeah.
I call him
I've known John
Pasta.
for years.
Oh yeah,
You call him pasta.
I call him Pasta. He's Italian. But he,
Of course you would call
but
him pasta.
he makes great pasta and a great
He's never made
coffee.
it for me.
He does
Oh
make
man,
really?
he's
Well,
something
this is
else.
an urban legend until everybody else tries
Yeah.
this.
Oh, his
Exactly,
coffee is
exactly.
amazing.
Oh man,
Coffee
and,
too?
and
Oh my gosh.
just the kindest, greatest dude on the planet. So he has a very similar perspective, and that's why I actually worry about people like him and even KJ and all you guys, because you guys are fixing, guys like me. Did you know that I'm the mayor of Broken Toy Island? That's how I saw myself in the beginning.
Yep,
So
promoted. Yeah.
I just pumped up that raft and I got off, and I'm bringing as many people as I can with me. But at the end of the day, the people that do what you guys do and what John does, and Mike Huskins is another one. I've seen it. I can see a sick person, like in terms of the mental health piece, where they've just absorbed too much trauma. And so that's my job in life now, is to help as many people as I can. I can retire in 2 years, and if I can transition to do something else, whatever that thing is, it will always be who can I help, where and when, and in that moment. The problem that KJ and I have talked about is what happens when it's like the vulnerable person downtown, where it's
Exactly what I was going to say.
so
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen there.
Well,
Round two.
we talked about that earlier on too, because I'm also somebody that being busy is where I thrive, and obviously I'm in a room full of people that you just told us about, the like 40 different places you're going in the next 2 months,
With 0
which is
days off.
which is crazy, but you're happy about it. Like, I love that. And when you started in this new role too, that was something that came up, and I can speak from experience too, being somebody that's like, well, I have to do everything, was that we just swapped one area of Starfish for another one. He's like, well, this person, they haven't reached out yet. I'm like, hey, it's not your timeline. It's not my timeline. In the work that we do.
I tried to make it my timeline.
Oh, of course. And I definitely have too. And it's a lot of the time, it's whose journey is it? And that's something we went back to. My journey, if I'm to force somebody, like even when you choose to go to therapy on your own, that's when the right time is. And a lot of people are like, I should have gone 5 years, 10 years ago. And I think we had the conversation. I'm like, would you 5 years ago wanted to be here? You'd be like, nope. I would have gone to check off the boxes, and I'd be like, this is bullshit, and left. And so I think that's super important to pay attention to, but also to know sometimes our job isn't to fix everybody. It's not to like brighten the whole room. Sometimes we're just holding a match. And if it doesn't feel good for you and it's not uncomfortable for you, then that's something, like if I'm like, oh, somebody's really struggling and I can't do anything, I'm like, okay, well, that says more about me. I'm not living their life. Maybe that's not their path. And that's something we had really good conversations about.
I'm not doing a good job of that, because I got several lines in the water, and the first thing I do in the morning is I check in on them every morning.
Yeah,
But-
my wife.
But they're already seen like people, so like that's helpful.
Yeah, my wife uses the phrase, who's working harder?
Yeah.
And that's just a constant reminder. She's used that because she works with clients in home, and she does in-home family support. And that's who's working harder.
Yeah.
And that's that whole idea that I think years ago when she said that statement, I brought into peer support and the reintegration work that I did in my previous role, is who's working harder.
Yeah.
And that was the constant kind of piece in the back of my mind that constantly reminded me of, I can only take this so far, and then the impetus is then on them. I'll always be there to support somebody and stand beside them shoulder to shoulder like I should.
Yeah.
But again, I appreciate that. Whose timeline is it, and who's working harder?
KJ and I have talked about that. So I look at it like a 400 meter events, you know, like in the Olympics. My job is done when I hand it over to KJ. And then what I do is I just try to be a support, because I know what they're going through, because I didn't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
And so if they're talkative, then we talk. If they're not, I can tell because they don't get back to me. But because I have such good relationships with most of the people that I have sent towards KJ and towards Wayfound in general, they are very open to those conversations. But like, my job is not to be KJ or Dr. M. Like, that's why you guys do what you do. That's why you're successful. There's a reason why I came out the other end, and why my office has zero personality, just like KJ's.
Whatever. Well, because we've met virtually, so all he sees is my like degree behind me and just a white wall. And he's like, "Oh my god, so clinical." I'm like, "I swear."
And it doesn't match your personality.
Yeah.
Quite nice
Her
in
office
there.
is actually quite nice.
Thank you, guys.
Did you go and see it yet?
I
I
did
showed
say
him.
it
He
has
was-
zero personality. It was
underwhelming for him.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
what we'll
Well,
say.
that's because the personality's so big. You don't need stuff to
That's what
I
say.
fill it up.
She has
But-
some fake plant, because I figured out it's fake or something, because it hasn't grown in like 2 years.
Which one?
I have a big one.
Exactly. But
I don't.
They have a lot of shit. My
But
office is not.
that's sad that it looks so fake.
my job is to hand the baton to KJ.
Yeah.
So she's the SME as it relates to this.
Yeah.
My job is to get them through the door. And then after that, I know from my experience that they're going to be well taken care of.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I reacted to you saying we text people in the morning just simply because I try to operate. I'm not always great at this at all by any stretch, full stop. But I try to operate from the perspective that any one of us has, like, our energy, our emotional attunement. What we have to give to people is not an infinite resource. We have to shore it back up, right? And so I try to operate from the perspective of, I've got 5 spoons in the day, and like I have to be thoughtful about where I'm giving my spoons out, or else I'm ultimately taking it, like I'm going to be in a deficit, and I'm going to have to borrow from tomorrow, and then I'm going to have to. So that just ends up being a recipe for me to burn out and then not be able to be.
What if you can't do that? And so, like, I have a problem with that.
I was just gonna say I did that because the spoons theory. Oh, so if you don't, we can talk about this next time we chat, because it's so concrete and actually so helpful to kind of look at your like emotional, physical capacity. But you're right, and that's something we're like, I'm not doing a good job. I don't do a good job sometimes, but it's just knowing that you're. It's the same with PTSD. It's the same with so many things. You can be in remission, and you can be doing really well, and then you can be going down a path for a little bit and be overwhelmed. Like that's going to happen. It's kind of like relapse is going to happen with things. And I think for you and I and everybody you kind of been talking to, that was one of the things. He's like, well, I really want to do more. And it's like, helping can look different. It just, and you might not always see it right in front of you. And a big conversation we had was that ripple effect. Like you don't know, and it's tough in the roles that we've all had, because we're not, going and getting evaluations from our bosses all the time. It's very internal. It's very private. So you kind of just have to,
self-critical
and very, very
Judgmental of self.
judgmental.
yeah, and very
Hence the
critical.
Yeah.
What is that?
This is mindful self-compassion workbook. We should all do a page.
We should all read that today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reflecting on your mission, I guess, is really what it is your mission statement to help others
Yeah.
in whatever way you can by sharing your story to normalize what it's like.
I don't fear it anymore. I
Yes.
don't. I fear nobody and no person. I've already got a good job. I got a supportive wife. I got great colleagues at work.
And I want you
I got
to
a
know.
cop whisperer. Like
That
there's
community, yeah.
Yeah.
there is no reason to be fearful. The thing I don't get is every once in a while, and I'd like to get you guys to explain it. After I overcame that incident and realized she's safe, everything's good, and we went through all the stuff that we went through. During that, there was always the whack-a-mole. So as soon as you literally put your finger on one part of the boat that was leaking, then another one would come on. I'd be like, I don't like you. I don't want to talk to you right now. And so now there was that whole thing where I would start thinking about that event now. And as soon as I would get comfortable or doing well for 2 months, be like, don't forget, you could have done better back here. And then it keeps coming back. So there was a period of time where we were working through the whack-a-mole. So there's probably 3 or 4 scenarios.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, trauma does tend to generalize to some extent. Particularly, I find at least like if you've got trauma that's related to I felt ashamed, in relation to this thing that happened. Well, oftentimes other things that were connected to shame are going to hang out in that pool together, and so you start talking about one, and the others are like, "Ooh, cool, we're here. Let's."
That's what happens.
Attention. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll come out of the dark, right?
Yeah.
And, I oftentimes will find that, and I mean, it's oftentimes not that clear cut that it's only one emotion per, that attaches to a trauma. But usually, if we start opening the door, we have a willingness to start taking these things out of the dark, secret places. The other things are going to want to come into the light too.
Something I'm really happy about today. So, sorry, I'm totally ADD. I just wanted to mention one other thing, is that there's a ton of people that I've interacted with in the last couple of years that I'm connected with online, on LinkedIn. I don't do social media. I don't do the TikTok. I don't do the Facebook.
TikTok either.
I love
I love
TikToks.
that you're on, like we mixed in one another.
Well, yeah.
That's how we ended up here.
I know, it's awesome. So I've met all of these people. There's many people where I would meet them for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and much like here and at work, I get to know all their individual stories, and I get to see their perseverance and the resiliency to try and overcome what they perceive as obstacles at the time, and to help them through that. And so I become invested in their future. So I obviously don't want them to end up like this. So when you guys post this, the hardest part for me is going to be able to hit repost. And the purpose of that is to reach out to all of them and to all the people across North America, because I've connected with a ton of emergency services across North America, to be like, okay, here you go. You can make yourself and be in a better place. But the ones that have the rose-colored glasses on, that haven't started the job yet, and they want to do this thing, and because they have these intimate conversations with me every week, they're now going to be able to see this and to hopefully prevent any stuff in the future for themselves, because I just want them to be successful. They're all passionate. They're all helpers, just like you guys. But I don't want them to get sick like I did. Like, it was terrible. I don't even know. Is there a word worse than terrible? It was terrible. Horrific, yeah.
See, I think this is the ultimate form of vulnerability.
Yeah.
I do. I think anybody that chooses to step in the arena, much like some of Brené Brown's work in vulnerability, is courageous.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much, especially in a first responder. We don't share, we don't trust often, and when we do trust, we're all in. Break that trust, and it's never going to be coming back, right?
Yeah.
So that, for me, as a fellow first responder, it takes so much courage to speak up and speak out like you are, and share your story so that you don't want others to go through that. And that again is this space. This is why we started having conversations about wanting to potentially do a podcast. I, as a first responder, I don't want to see others go through what others have gone through. And
trust that your message is getting out.
And this is the thing, when we're the same vintage. I mean,
Yeah.
I started in 1999 in my training for EMS. Nobody talked about it. Nobody spoke about stigma. What was stigma? Mental health. We had a little sheet that said CISM. Call it if you need it, but don't call it because you'll be shamed, right? And now we're literally on the opposite side of that. And it's people like yourself. It's people like other guests that have talked about their stories. That's what I think is helping people.
Yeah, I agree.
Normalizing getting help. If you busted your leg skiing, would you expect your buddies or your friends and family to be like, don't go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, just why don't you come out and we'll do some double black diamonds, even though your legs are broken.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
they'd be like, dude, that's
Just
why
get on
are
the
you
sled.
doing that?
Just get on the sled and push them downhill.
Well, it's interesting too, and I don't know if you remember this as well, but one of the earlier days of exposures we did was him telling people at work. He's like, I really want to tell people this, and I never want to force somebody to tell people things, but I was like, hey, hear me out.
That was a terribly difficult
Yeah,
day.
and I told
felt
you.
good about it, though.
Yeah, I was like, you are somebody that you have a lot more influence than I think you realize. And I think
your exposure, your in vivo was around going to headquarters and telling people.
Yeah, I had to do that, and I'd hand in my gear and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is that the team that I was working on, it's a big family, because you're involved in a lot of stuff. You're freezing, starving, way too hot, way too cold. You go to these crazy calls, and we spent hours like you spend more time with these people than you do with your own,
Totally.
you know, with your own partners or spouses or whatever. And so I wanted them to understand why I abandoned them. So that's how I felt about it at the time. Obviously, I don't feel like that now, but at the time, that's something that we were working through. And you have to know the fellas on my old team, like they are as alpha as you can possibly think, and they're all great dudes, but alpha, like you got to have thick skin in this group because we tease each other relentlessly. But it was important to me to be honest and to give full disclosure and explain what happened. There was one fella in the room that was in the office the day that I came in on my days off to try and figure out that whole incident, which by the way she was found later on. I don't know if I mentioned that. Okay. Okay, well, thank goodness. Yes, she was found a while later, but I didn't recover. I was still fired up. But anyway, so they're all sitting in a circle, and fitness is primary in this group. And so they're all these, like, I'm the smallest guy. Like, they're all these beefcakes, and they're all sitting there. And
How are their ankles? Are they pretty strong?
they could wear shorts.
Most importantly,
They could wear shorts. And I still I still remember telling the story, and I would tell them, like, listen, I'm sorry. This is what happened. And like, I'm not getting an emotion out of them at all. They're all just sitting there like this, looking at me, right? And I know that they're not thinking anything bad. They're just trying to absorb what it is that I'm telling
And
them.
they don't know what to say, probably.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of it, obviously, I gave them all a big hug. And then not that long later, down the road, a couple of them took advantage of the mental health supports that CPS offers. So it worked out really, really well. And that's my goal. But that was a stinker. I was a pit stain from my elbow to my hip.
And I've done hundreds of exposure therapy sessions with clinicians and independent. Not one paramedic that I worked with in 5 years will go anywhere near headquarters, let alone talk to their team and tell them what you did. So the courage that takes.
I can't even
knowing that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Why did we decide to do that? I can't remember now.
I'm sadistic, I guess. I don't
What's
know.
that?
I'm
Yeah, you're
sadistic,
mean.
I guess.
You're mean.
I think it.
What was the fear hierarchy?
Yeah, I think part of it was we'd been talking about it for a while, and just like wanting to help people. And you're like, I don't want to have gone through this for nothing. And I remember part of that was also just kind of challenging the what if you can't 100% help someone the way that you want, and the ripple effect. That was the piece where we don't always see what we're doing with people, and it'll be something that I'm like, hey, that was actually a really good point we talked about today. And it'll be 6-7 months later, and someone will be like, something you said in the second session that I thought was so just insignificant was something that was important. And I think that's a really good message that I like to remind myself. And I think I remember we were talking about it was, you might not know in that moment, but there's going to be somebody like that day sitting and eating their lunch behind you at a table that has their head down and looks like they're not listening, that's taking in everything you're saying. And you might not see them do anything for a year. But I've had enough people, not even just from you, that have been like, I heard somebody talking about this while we were getting ready for work or in the morning parade or something like that. And they came in. So you might not reap the benefits right away. And I think that was one of the big things was like, you might not get any feedback from it and it's going to be awful. And you're going to feel like, why did I do that, KJ? But look what's happened now. Like people say, sing your praises.
Oh, well,
they say
that's
they
nice,
speak
but
of you very, very highly. And I know that's not what you're after, but just to show that they're like, when I saw somebody like Brenan being honest and open about his story, that made it okay for me. So I just want you to know that.
So
piece
that's
too.
the goal. That's the goal. I used to worry about the other side, about the other part of the population. You know, what are people going to think? What about my reputation? But those are things that they just don't matter to me. They don't matter to me. What does matter is the starfish. But the thing about you, KJ, is you're like a ninja level communicator. Like, she says very relevant stuff every single session. And I can speak to like the first 3 months, and some of the people that I've sent your way, we've talked about this. It's all positive. Is that the suds would be super high. I'm having a really difficult time. I'm thinking about all the different moles. I'm not getting enough sleep. But then when I knew that session was coming, I just needed to get to that session. Then we would talk about whatever it was. You would say wicked stuff, ninja level stuff, and then I would write it down.
Who knows?
So the reason why I started to write it down is because I wasn't writing it down before, and then I would forget.
Yeah.
And then I would feel like a 10 out of 10 amazing after a session. I'd be like, I legit feel like if I was laying on the ground, somebody just took their foot off my throat. I could breathe, I could relax, I could smile. Because in the very beginning, all of the indicia outside, the sights, the sounds, the smells, I didn't get any of it.
Yeah.
And then I can still remember the day. I was like, holy jeez, the leaves sound great. I can smell the grass.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
Wow.
but the problem is that I wasn't remembering all the time all the cool stuff that KJ was saying. So I started writing it down. So even with the people that I send your way, I'm like, listen, it's going to sound dumb right now. Just write down everything she says.
Some of it is, you're going to be like, what the hell did we just talk about in that
totally.
session?
Totally.
Because it works. Like the people that you have here, Dr. M, it works. And it legitimately saves lives. So like a real thing that I'm sure that you guys are aware of, like the suicide rate exists. Like it's horrible. It's terrible.
It's terribly high in law enforcement officers.
Like all emergency services, right?
Very high.
And so
Absolutely.
when I say I should have been swinging from a poplar, I'm joking, but I'm serious. There's only a couple things that stopped it, like I was saying before. My treatment from KJ, and we have that in the family, and my mother would never get over it. So, and I have kids and a wife, and obviously, like those things combined. But there are people out there that don't have the opportunity or the mindset, or their suds are so high that they can't even think about that, and then they just want to make the physical pain go away. So what you guys are doing is it's legitimately saving lives. It's like me going to a call downtown, and I've been to a bunch of suicides over the years, but the good ones where they didn't do the swan dive. When I was driving over Reconciliation Bridge, I think it's called now. So as I'm driving over that bridge, I instantly looked up in a spot because there's a dude. Twice I was able to talk him down from coming down there. He'd smoke his meth up there, throw his meth pipe at me, swear at me, call me nasty names, but I would know him really well. So again, my relationship with him got him down. But that's an example of the police saving lives. But you guys, what you're doing with everybody, not just the emergency service community, is it legitimately saves lives, because suicide exists. I'm sure you've read a billion studies on it, but know that for sure that you're doing that. You might not know the name or the person or all that stuff, but it's a very real thing.
I've got, like, you told me to hang on, and it's been amazing. I've absolutely enjoyed this conversation.
I talk too much.
If you could wrap
No,
up,
not at all.
if you could wrap up just everything and all of the discussions in one word.
One word.
One word. So give me one word that you would love people to really hang on to after all the things that you've said today.
One word. Jeez. So that one's hard.
Or a short phrase.
Yeah.
Just, I'm
Mental health matters. PTSD is real. There is help. It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile. When you come out the other end, you'll be a completely new human. It's like coming out of a cocoon, right? I get to enjoy life again. I get to enjoy food and family and friends, all because of this. But nothing worthwhile is ever easy. So you to reap the reward, which is good health, you got to do the hard thing. If you want to have good cardio, which I have to because of all the recruits that I have with Run with a Recruiter. Did you know that I had to learn to run? It was crazy. But
Yes, I see your post and I'm like,
I know, I'm impressed. You're a very inspiring person. Like, I get a lot out of when we meet too, and I'm like, man, I need to go for a jog.
who are you kidding? I
after-
know all your stuff.
After chatting with Brenan, I'm like, I just want to be a better person.
totally.
But to reap the reward, you have to put in the work. You have to persevere, in one word. You have to have resiliency. And you have to want the thing. And so if you want to feel good, do this. And if you're not comfortable talking to your partner, reach out to me. Call Wayfound. I can give you KJ. If you're not comfortable with that, go and see go and see your site services in your department. Talk to somebody that you trust. But the hardest thing is after you make that first call, your life will be changed forever. Yeah. But it's like Buckley's. tastes like, but it works. Let's go. Get on it. Get in that work.
I think "get on it" might be the good catchphrase
Get on
from
it.
all of
Get
this.
on
Get
it.
on it. What are you waiting
You
for?
can do it.
Yeah.
I love it. I freaking love it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mental Health Mixtape, brought to you by the Before Operational Stress Program. We hope today's conversation has resonated with you and provided valuable insights into navigating the complexities of mental health. Remember, your well-being is our priority. If you or someone you know could benefit from the support and resources offered by the Before Operational Stress Program, don't hesitate to reach out. Take that first step towards a healthier, more resilient you. And here's a special treat for our dedicated listeners. A 15% discount waits for you when you sign up through the code provided in the show notes. Investing in your mental health has never been more accessible. We appreciate your continued support and commitment to breaking the stigma surrounding mental health. Let's keep the conversation going. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.